What's happening, Tribe? Welcome back to a new episode of TrybeTalk. My name is Anuj. This week we have another FPL manager from the community who's doing exceedingly well this season and is also a big fan of Chelsea, a club with new owners who got to taste and witness the ups and downs of a Premier League game already. Warm welcome to Ishan Ganguly. How are you doing, buddy?
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Let's quickly take a look at your season so far. My first question is on your team name.
It's very old, actually. It's about 10 years, 9, 10 years. I think I've had this name ever since I started playing FPL. It's actually one of my favorite Bob Dylan songs. And Blue also goes with Chelsea. So I think it's a mesh of both the names.
Yeah. So, we can use this segue to really talk about the new Chelsea ownership. After 2 months of twists and turns, and with I think the 31st May was the deadline, which was looming all over Chelsea club as well as the Chelsea fans. Just explain to me, what have the Chelsea fans really gone through since your previous owner's assets were frozen?
From the footballing side of it, this whole uncertainty has also been reflected on the pitch. But it's still not over. 31st May is the deadline, and now the people who won the bid, the consortium headed by Todd Bowley, his application is now under Premier League and then the government approval. But I don't see any pitfalls in that because the consortium has a lot of government contacts. The former Chancellor of the British Exchequer is one of the bidders. So I don't see any. Now I think it's just rubber stamping and procedural work. But it was quite, like I was telling you before the stream started, it's quite good to see the new owner at the bridge and getting the whole Chelsea experience in the bit Ted Lasso feeling about it. You see Bruce Buck, the existing chairman, sitting and explaining to him what VAR is, how VAR works, why you don't celebrate immediately after a goal, pointing out Lukaku and saying that this guy doesn't score 2 goals every day, every match, every week. It'll be it was good fun. It was very important for us to close this chapter and focus on really nailing these last few games that are remaining and closing the season well.
How true is this bust up between Tuchel and Alonso?
Alonso is perfectly capable of something like this. He had a fallout with Lampard also, which is why he was completely frozen out of the team. Tuchel reinvigorated him, gave him another chance. He has been getting a regular run in the team, especially after Chilwell's injury. The exact moment of Alonso's, bust up with Tuchel is recorded where he misplaced a pass and then he was slow to track back. So Tuchel you couldn't see Tuchel, but Tuchel would have told him something, that run back or track back or something, and then he retorted while running back, pointing at Tuchel and things like that. What's happened since the international break, I don't know. I don't think Tuchel himself knows, because we've got only 8 points from 7 games since March after the international break, and we've lost 6 games in the entire season, and the last 3 games were lost in the last 2 months or 3 months. Tuchel is concentrating on a core group of 12 or 13 players with no rotation. So Azpilicueta and Thiago Silva, who are 30 plus, they played versus United, and then 2 days later they played versus Everton. There was no reason for that. He could have easily rotated. Reece James, just returning from injury, he could have been rotated. He wasn't, because I understand he's crucial to Chelsea's system. So for some reason, Tuchel has just shrunk his pool of players, and he's not rotating, and he's not using fresh legs, fresh mentality. He's just playing the same old 11 with the same old results.
And because Chelsea was in the title race till game week 16-17, where all 3, Liverpool, City and Chelsea, were neck to neck. And after that, I was just looking at the scores from game week 17 to game week 23, which is a span of around 7 matches. There were 5 draws, 1 win and 1 loss. So, which is, I think, the Christmas time. Yes, there have been injuries as well. There have been injuries.
That was the main reason. That time, they didn't do well because of the injuries. Fact that there were so many injuries, and it was not that people were getting injured at the same time. They were getting injured at different times. So that attacking combination, he couldn't nail down on. So right now, the preferred combination is Werner, Havertz and Mount.
For me, I think if I were to look at the Chelsea all results of this season, for me, the most unexpected result was the loss to Brentford 4-1 at home. Because I was looking at the minutes played by the defenders,
Yeah.
So there are only 5 defenders who have played more than 2,000 minutes. Whereas if you look at City versus Liverpool versus even Arsenal, they have on an average 8 to 9 people who have played more than 2,000 minutes. All right, well, let's get into the game week 37 that we have at hand. There are a lot of managers who are still left with chips. Mostly it's a free hit or a triple captain. I think mostly it's free hit, around 40-42% in the top 10,000 still have a free hit left. This is a chart by Legumane. Shout out to Legumane. And I believe you are using a free hit next week, or you're still not decided?
I've already activated my free hit chip.
Okay.
I debated with the idea of free hit 38 because I remember last season we got a few last minute lineup leaks, and whoever had kept the free hit for 38 really scored big. But then figured that looking at my team, I already have people who are not expected to be rotated.
Okay. So let's look at the draft that you have. Obviously, this is not a final draft. This is a draft you're working on, and we have put the fixtures Legomanis ticker on the side. So yeah, what's the thinking behind this draft as of now, or are there any changes that you're planning to make still?
This draft was made on Saturday morning.
Okay.
Just as a disclaimer. So obviously Coutinho will not be in my final free 37 team because I think Burnley had a great game.
Yeah.
I think Gerrard over the last 2 games as a Norwich and Burnley has finally fixed on his best formation, which is Ings and Watkins, Buendia and Coutinho behind them. Now Buendia or Coutinho, so automatically Coutinho becomes a slight risk. So I'd probably shift Coutinho to Watkins.
But do you think it's also to do with the injury to Bailey? Bailey not being there has kind of allowed him to play Ings and Watkins.
Before that, Bailey wasn't starting week in, week out, right? He was just being handled with kid gloves. Ings came on because Bailey was injured, but I think the formation switch was accidental. I don't think Gerrard planned for it because he has played Ings and Watkins together before this season, and for some reason it didn't work, which is why he shifted back to the 4-3-3 with Watkins alone. So Coutinho will not be there. Who's on pens right now, Ings or Watkins?
I think it's been a long time they've got a penalty. I think last time it was, I think I might be wrong. Was it McGinn?
Watkins is on pens because Ings wasn't playing. But now that Ings and Watkins are going to start together, do you think Ings is, because this is another one of those 50 which we're going to get wrong, right? Because we can only take Ings or Watkins. And then we take the one who's not on pens. We'll end up taking the one who's not on pens. And that's how bad variance has been this season. I'm also not so comfortable anymore on the Villa double defense. I think I would want Pickford in there instead of Martinez. Michaelenko is also an option, but I think he came off with the side cramp. So I'll have to watch Lampard's press conference. The reason I want Pickford right now is because he has been making a lot of saves recently. He's kept Everton in game. That save against Chelsea was, I think it was a save of the season.
Absolutely.
He also had about 7 or 8 saves last game. And then Pickford came out in the post-match press conference. He said that I'm happy to I'm happy if my saves can keep Everton up. So when a player speaks like that with that much of motivation, with that much of confidence, knowing that the fate of his club is resting on his shoulders, he'll be up for it. I'm looking at Pickford. The only thing that's putting me off is that Everton are horrible away from home.
They're playing at home.
Right?
They're playing at home. So these are the fixtures for these 5 teams who are doubling up. So obviously the teams in caps are basically Aston Villa and Everton are playing both their games at home. And what we have done here is we have just given their stats for the last 6 games. They have had tough fixtures. They played Leicester. Obviously, they played Chelsea. They played United as well. In spite of that, they are ranked 11th in terms of minutes expected goals conceded. As you rightly said, I think Pickford is the one who has just kept them in the league still.
So Everton at home over the last 4 games are ranked 7th. So that's not bad. Yeah. They're conceding a chance every 70 to 80 odd minits, which is not
only one goal conceded in the last 4 games.
Only 1 goal conceded. The thing with Goodison Park is that the pitch is very close to the stands, and the fans will be up for it because if they win these 2 games, then 38 game week 38 is a breeze for them. So the fans will be up for it. Pickford has said he's up for it. They've been doing well off late. They got a result at Chelsea. They got a result at Leicester. So I think going with at least one Everton defender is not a bad shout.
We have to be mindful of the fact that these are the last 2 home games for Everton this season, and they would like to confirm their safety in the Premier League by winning these 2, or not just, or at least getting 4 points, if not 6.
Because I don't think Palace travel that well.
So these are for the 3 teams who are playing both the games away. Palace's defense has really improved, but if you see the attack on the road, season-wise they're number 17 ranked as far as minutes per XG is concerned. And last 4 away games, they are at number 5, but they're still season-wise they're still at 17.
They might be third on the goals conceded list, but if you just see the last 4 opponents, it's Watford, Southampton, Leeds, and Newcastle. And these teams are not known for scoring a lot. I mean, you could argue Leeds is a little gung-ho in the attack. They've not been playing so well. Southampton is on the beach. Watford are relegated. Newcastle have been playing well. But they're not teams that are they're known for their attacking prowess. So probably that's why the minutes per expected goals conceded is so high. But they still shipped 4 goals. I think backing an Everton attacker and an Everton defender versus Palace is a good shot.
Right. What do you think about Palace's attacker? Like, there's only one option, Zaha.
Yeah, there's only Zaha. I mean, if you're looking to get in a City midfielder, or say a double up on Salah and Jota, because I believe that, and we'll come to that later, but I believe that this, if you're free hitting, then you shouldn't only focus on double game weekers, because they're all mid-table teams. We should also have a few of those players from the high ownership, high performing top table teams. So if somebody wants to punt on a City midfielder versus West Ham, or if somebody wants to go for a Son, Kane, Kulusevski triple up versus Burnley, then you would need a budget defender, and therefore I think Klein at 4.3 million is a great shout, because he's been playing well and the stats are there that back him up. So I don't think it's a bad shout. I personally think 352 is the best option for this week. So I will be only going for Zaha and nobody else, because I don't know who else to back in attack. He's going to be playing on the side in which Cash is playing and Coleman is playing. We know Coleman is not the fastest, and we know Cash likes to attack a lot. He's the defender who's got the most penalty box touches. So there's an opportunity for Zaha to run in behind Cash and to run in behind Coleman, and Zaha is a lock. I mean, these are the kind of differentials you would want if you're free hitting, right? You would want to have the high ownership players, and then you would want to have these differential punts who can really take it to the next level and give you that boost in your free hit. For Everton, I think it's Pickford, Gordon, and Richarlison. Gordon just for his value because of the set pieces he's on and such a good enabler. And Richarlison is on pens, is the man in form, the man of the moment. He's 150% effectively owned in the top 10K in game week 36. So he's also a lock. So that's 2 teams done, 2 doubles.
I just want to look at the Everton attack at home. Here it is. So in obviously the season-wise, it's been their defense who have really pulled them down. The attack-wise, they are number 13, 22 goals scored. But in the last 4, obviously they have had tough fixtures as well. They're still at 16. In spite of that, I think, as you said, if any assist or a goal has to go to any Everton guy, it has to be either of these 2 guys, either Richarlison or Gordon. But they play Brentford. So my thing about Brentford is they are the team in form. For them, this whole phrase of on the beach really doesn't matter. He wants to really get into. He really wants to finish in top 10, and he might as well. He's on a solid run, and I don't think he's gonna really take it easy in this game as well. Yes, Everton is playing at home. They will be all fired up. To be honest, I don't see too many goals here. It might be, if Everton wins, it might be a 1-0 win or a 2-1 win. I definitely see Brentford scoring here. They are playing really free-flowing football right now.
A bit of context, the last 5 games I'm seeing they've played Leicester, Chelsea, Liverpool, Leicester again, Manchester United, and before that there was that 3-2 collapse versus Burnley, and then before that was West Ham. So they're not easy fixtures by any means. They're all teams in the top half of the table except for Leicester, but Leicester are a good team. So that's the context behind the 16th position. However, when they realized that these players and Lampard realized that their career was on the line, suddenly they've turned it around. They've got results. Against Liverpool also, they played well. To scoreline reflects 2-0, but they played well. I completely agree with your point about Brentford. They are not pushovers. I don't see a huge win. I see a narrow win as well. But the thing is, on a free hit, you have to put yourself in a position to get lucky.
I think now Everton, for this 37, for people who are playing free hit, now there are 4 or 5 Everton assets now, especially after the 2 goals scored by the defenders in the last game week. As you said, we're not sure about Michaelenko, whether he's going to be fit to play or not, because it's a double game week coming, and I'm sure Lampard is not going to rush him in. But I see Pickford, Richarlison to the top 2 picks amongst whoever's picking Everton assets, Gordon, and then maybe Holgate. And so there are 4 or 5 now. So it's really interesting how people are going to really go about Everton assets. Villa assets. So you're saying you're going to, I think it's one of the 2 strikers.
Yeah, one of the strikers for sure. One of Cash or
no Martinez, because you're going for Pickford.
So
Pickford makes more sense.
Initially, if you see, my draft has Martinez, but the reason I'm off Martinez right now is because Pickford is about 0.6, 0.7 cheaper, and with Everton's defense, I think they're gonna give up a lot of shots. So Pickford has an avenue to save points, and by chance, if they do keep a clean sheet, then he's gonna be amongst bonus. Between Dean and Cash, I've put Dean here because he's an FPL favorite of mine who has never repaid the faith I have shown in him. But maybe I'm hoping for one last hurrah, but I think I might just go for Cash. Simply because he's getting into the penalty area a lot more.
You're gone for Kane and Son. So is it because obviously top 4 is obviously on the line, and obviously I find this more appealing and compelling because of the fact that this is Tottenham's last home game.
I mean, I've had Kane all this while. On my wildcard, there was a choice between Kane and Son, and it was a 50-50 choice. And we all know what happened after that. Their expected has scored 85 points, and Kane has scored 40 points, and there was nothing there. Liverpool, Kane had 0 shots on target, dropping deep, and he was for every touch he was looking to release Son, and that's how they play versus the top teams. I don't see that happening against Burnley. Against Burnley, I think it's a more Kane game than a Son game. But I've kept Kane and Son simply because Son has just been hurting my rank for the last 6-7 weeks. So finally one opportunity to get him in, and I'm not going to miss out on it. Another punt that I'm looking at is Christian Romero, simply because Spurs have not conceded. Spurs have been a good defense of late. They've conceded only 5 goals in their last 8 games. They conceded no big chances against Liverpool. The goal came via deflection, and Christian Romero, because of his tackles and his interceptions and his passes out from the back, he's a bonus point magnet. I don't see Burnley getting anything from this game. So you have Lloris on your free hit draft.
This is my
Lloris. If Romero was the same price, but Romero is about 0.6 cheaper, and his ceiling, his floor, for bonus points is much higher than Lloris's. So I'm looking at trying to fit in Romero on my free hit draft. Let's see where I go with that. So it's either Son and Kane only, or Son, Kane with Romero or Kulusevski.
Right. I'll just quickly go through my draft. First of all, whether I'm free hitting or not, because I'm absolutely in love with the 38 fixtures of Spurs, Liverpool, all the home teams basically. And I was just looking at their stats in the last 3-4 seasons. Teams playing at home really tend to score higher than the average that they've scored in the season. So let's see. Most probably I'll go for 38 free hit. But if I were to go this week, this is it. I am actually going for double. Actually, I think Cash and Luka Dean and Watkins are the 3 players who are expected the maximum minutes as compared to any other Aston Villa asset. I also kind of played with the idea of Martinez, but again, Martinez is one, he's one goalkeeper who he might be good. He had a sexy last season, but he's one guy who's really irritates the hell out of the TV viewer, right? It's because he takes a yellow card for time wasting, so there is no point taking such a guy. You rightly said Klein. I'm actually quite impressed with the Crystal Palace's defense. So yes, they're playing away, but they have improved. And I think even Patrick Vieira really wants to finish nicely and strongly. This is his first season, like the way Gerrard wants to do, like the way Thomas Frank wants to do. So so these two are not the teams who are at beach. They will still fight till the last game. So I have Kulusevski right now in the double game week, which is going on right now. If it's basically Zaha versus Kulusevski one game.
Zaha takes it.
I know.
Because you never know, suddenly he might decide to play Lucas Moura also. You never know. I mean, he won't. He shouldn't because Kulusevski changed the game when he came on last week. I like your optimism where you said Dean and Cash are the two players who are going to get 180 minutes. Wait till Luca Dean goes off injured in the 13th minute of the first game, and then we'll see.
I've never owned him this season, so he looked pretty impressive in the last game. So
he looks pretty impressive every time, and then you get him in, and then next match he's not in the match day squad because he has COVID and we didn't know about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm not getting any midfielder from Aston Villa for sure. If Luka Dean, I drop him. I'll have to see. And this Michaelenko might change to Holgate or whoever. I'm taking a punt of not going with Richarlison as of now because obviously you are at a different kind of a rank. I'm at around 50,000. So I have to kind of look for that kind of an upside. Not really bothered about the ownership of 10K.
For discussion's sake, let's just assume you have 4 single gaming players: Kane, Son, Salah, and Trent. I want to ask you, what are your thoughts about what should be the optimal mix between single gaming and double gaming players in this match, in this week?
To be honest, if you see the 37 fixtures here, City, I think City, you can have Cancelo.
It's going to be tough. Because West Ham have they're rested. They're going to play the full strength team.
It's not going to be an easy game.
It's not going to be easy. West Ham have failed to score only once in any match at the London Stadium this season. So I don't think City are going to have it easy. But Cancelo had 0.9 XGI in this last match versus Newcastle, and that is crazy numbers for a defender. So I think Cancelo is a lock on my free hit draft. Whoever I pick, I'm going to have Cancelo there for sure. There is no doubt in my mind because he can get attacking returns on both ends of the pitch. I don't see City keeping a clean sheet because it's probably going to be Fernandinho and Laporte. And I think Bowen and Antonio will bully Fernandinho a bit.
I don't mind. Yeah, exactly. I was covering to Liverpool versus Southampton, and looking the way Southampton has defended in the last 2-3 months, I don't mind getting a third asset of Liverpool, but it won't be a defender, but it has to be between Jota or Diaz.
That's what you don't know, right? So see, the thing with Southampton is that they're clearly on the beach. Sorry, if Burnley had won this last week, then Southampton would have been in trouble. But now that Burnley have lost to Villa, I think Southampton are safe. They're still on the beach. The thing is that the turnaround with the FA Cup semi-final for both Chelsea and Liverpool is quite close. FA Cup semi-final and game week 38. So Pool play on Saturday. Then they play on Wednesday, which is game week 37. Then they play on Sunday, which is game week 38. So I see Pool's first strength team playing in game week 38 because that's 1 week before the Champions League final. So who does he play versus Southampton in game week 37? We don't know.
No, I'm not even sure about Salah playing 48 hours after the FA Cup final.
So now if we move Salah to Jota, because see, Salah, Mane and Diaz are Liverpool's first choice front three. So they're going to be starting on Saturday in the FA Cup final. So do we move for Jota? Do we hedge against Salah's EO? My thinking right now is to play Robertson and to have Tsimikas as first sub. Is going to be either Robertson or Tsimikas, and you can afford that. So if Robertson does get a rest versus Southampton, you can play Tsimikas. The big question is what to do with Salah. So you would want to play 3 Liverpool players in this week versus Southampton, but who do you play?
We saw Antonio score after ages against Norwich on Saturday. They're playing Wolves now. Wolves versus Norwich. And Wolves did play decently against Chelsea over the weekend. Any attackers to really go for there? I have put Wong on my bench, but I don't have the balls to play him in 11.
I think Kane and Watkins are locks, and they're going to be very popular. And Richarlison too. So I think the forward slots are more or less filled. So I don't think we can go for any single game weeker.
True. I think single game weekers would be 4 or 5 max.
I think 5 is, for me, 5 is optimal because I would want one Liverpool defender. I would want Cancelo. I would want Kane and Son.
Right.
And I would definitely want Salah. Salah or Jota. I mean, Salah, you don't bet against Salah, right? I also think that he will play simply because Son is so close to him in the Golden Boot race.
And I think managers do look at these things as well.
And Klopp is a manager who puts a lot of emphasis on sports science, and he has said that Robertson, Salah, Mane, their level of getting re-energized and recovery is far higher than usual people.
All right, let's get into the FPL quiz now. As we always, every weekend, we are immersed in the FPL stats. So I have just 3 questions for you. I'll give you 3 players here. Now you need to arrange the number of Premier League games they have started in descending order.
So descending order. So whoever's played the most will be on top, right?
Yeah. Alonso, Havertz, and Mount.
I'd say Mount would be number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Between Havertz and Alonso, I would say it would be Alonso.
So it's Mount,
Alonso, Havertz.
Yeah. All right, that's the right one. 25 for Mount, 23 for Alonso, and 21 for Havertz. Okay, second one. Who is the only Chelsea defender to not score 3 goals or more in spite of playing more than 1,500 minutes? Because most of the Chelsea defenders have been scoring. Obviously, Reece James is at 5, and there are a lot of defenders in line at 3. So who's the only one who has not scored 3 and has played more than 1,500 minutes?
Christensen, has he played more than 1,500 minutes? I don't know. I'm not sure.
He's just below that. He's around 1,400 something.
I know Rudiger scored 2 goals. That I know for sure. I'd say Rudiger.
So Reece James is at 5.
Yeah.
All the rest of them are 3.
Yeah.
Apart from Aspilicueta. He's at 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
1?
Yeah, he's at 1.
He just scored right now, like a few weeks back. That was his first goal?
Yeah, he's at 1. Okay, this is the who am I question. So the first clue is I have played more than 75 games for my country. Chelsea is my 4th club since I made my debut in 2010. And all these 4 clubs have been in different leagues.
Okay, so my first guess would have been Lukaku, but then it's not Lukaku. It's not the English kids. It could be Thiago Silva. No, I think Thiago Silva made his debut before 2010, so it's not Thiago Silva. It's not Rudiger. It's not Aspilicueta. Is he a first teamer? Can you say that, or is that the next clue? Is he a first teamer?
Yeah. Okay, before I was signed permanently by Chelsea, I was on loan.
Is it Kovacic?
Yeah. First was Dynamo Zagreb, then I think it was Inter Milan, then Real Madrid, and then Chelsea.
The injury to him coincided with Kante's injury, and it also coincided with Jorginho's loss of form. I'm hoping for a strong finish to Chelsea as well as my FPL season. I have also been kind of stuck in a rut. You won't believe it. For the last 20 game weeks, I've been in.
You broke into top 10,000 way, like game week 8 or 10 something?
Yeah, top 10,000 game week 8, top 5,000 I broke into in game week 16. And
since then you've been in that range.
So I have not been able to go from 5K to, so I'm pushing for 1K. So I'm not being able to do that because my style of play, like I was telling you, is to have all the high ownership players and put a few differentials in.
Yeah. Hopefully it should fall in the next 22 games which are left. I think 1K is very much reachable.
Discussion helps because there are a few eye openers on the stats which I was not aware of. So hopefully that helps my free at 37 team push my rank.
Yeah, and we should have these discussions more often. Thank you very much for coming over, spending time. Hope I didn't keep you long away from your baby. All the best.
Thanks a lot, and keep doing the good work that you are.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks.